Good evening and welcome to Off the Lip, the show about surfing and skateboarding. If you'd like to join the show tonight, give us a call at 831-479-1080. That's 831-479-1080. And now, here are your hosts for tonight's program, Neil Pearlberg and Terry Campion.
Good evening and welcome to the Off the Lip radio show number 85, broadcasting from
Santa Cruz,
California. Surfing skateboard capital of Santa Cruz, California.
Love it.
Should we be further than that? I'm a little nervous tonight, TC. We are out-scholared.
Hey, I barely
by
got
a
out of high
long
school.
shot. I'm a little nervous. Normally we got it under control, but we're out-scholared tonight.
You should be nervous.
Well, I went to Oxford. I did get an Oxford education.
I
don't think it's going to help me. I'm in the wrong department.
I went to Cabrillo.
You did? Did you graduate?
7 years.
But you milked that.
Well, I had an ocean view. I always say, never send your kids to Cabrillo because you can see the swell.
True.
And I'd just be
and
like,
you can hear it.
Yeah, withdrawal.
In studio tonight. Ready for this? Dr. Wallace J Nichols, author of Blue Mind, which is currently sits on the New York bestseller list, along with his good friend, Dr. Kevin Weiner, Stanford and Princeton neuroscientist. Good luck to
Well, you know what I was just
TC.
thinking? I'm like, it's got to be Halloween because they're dressed up like surf dudes. You know?
So good luck to us, because if this may be the only part of the show that the audience gets is our introduction. But before we start, let's talk about the Queen of Mavericks, what we're doing.
Wow, this is big news, huh?
It's rather large.
You know, it's taking on a very large, growing thing that's just, we turned into something.
Right, so we started the Queen of Mavericks, which is a season-long tournament, contest, to find the best women.
The top performer of the season.
Women's surfer of Mavericks this season.
And what's great about it, because I spoke to Sean Dollar today, who's one of our judges. And
he became a judge today.
He did. He agreed. And we're excited to have him on there. But what's great about it is the top performance quite possibly could be a wave.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be, it could be the course of an entire season.
Right.
Or it might be something.
That's right. So we start off with, we're putting up $500. The board, the Santa Cruz board is putting up $500.
Thank you, my wife.
Followed by the Surf Channel stepped up, matched the $500. Followed by our sponsor, Steve Pereira and Diane Pereira.
Awesome.
Kicked in $500. The Santa Cruz Boardwalk $500. $2,000 right now.
And we're just starting.
Start now.
We got $2,000 in 2 weeks. Now, if it's anyone listening wants to jump on board, this is a great marketing opportunity because this is going to last all season.
Right.
And obviously the Surf Channel is promoting this, and we're going to promote it. So we're taking. I always said, Jeff Winterhalter, we need a car for this thing. So
you think Jeff's
get Ford involved. Yeah, are you kidding me? One of those little sports things. Yeah, I'm telling you, he might be listening, Jeff.
He's watching the Giants game. By the way, turn the Giants game off because that's done. Okay, let's
tomorrow.
Tune into the Off the Lip radio show. Game 7's tomorrow.
If the Giants take the lead, someone please call and let us know. Now, just to get back to what we're doing.
You better get cracking with the guys here.
We will. But I did talk to Sean today, and this is just to give you a little update. So far, he says.
Ooh. That giving the leader in the clubhouse?
He thinks that Savannah might be edging out in front right now.
The clubhouse. Leader of the clubhouse so far.
Maybe. But
she's on the front 9, though. She hasn't got the back 9 yet.
And just real quick before we jump into the show, Bianca had a big week, a lot of waves last week.
You know what? It's her birthday today.
It is.
And before we go any further, I want to wish my son Quinn a happy birthday today, too. Love my kid.
Yeah, you're very...
All the memories of surfing with my kid all come to the head today.
I saw your Facebook post, man. You are a loving father.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We're going to have dinner with my son tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. So, without further ado...
Okay.
Because we're shying away from the rocket scientists here tonight. Jay, can you talk... You're here tonight. Let me tell you what happened. Peter Mel texted me, and Tara Mel also texted me about having you on the show and talking to us about this book, Blue Mind, which I know nothing about.
Me neither.
TC knew nothing about. Do you tell the audience who may know nothing about it how the success of this book has happened and why it's now sitting on the New York bestseller list and what it's all about?
Yep, I'll do that. Before we get to that, I'd like to offer a signed copy of the book to the prize
trivia.
there.
Wow.
There we go.
Mavericks. I know it's not It's not much. It's not $500, but
No.
hey, everybody.
Oh, signed copy of the book to the winner of the contest.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go.
See? And now we're going to talk about that all season. So this is going to be a better bestseller as we promote it. So
Thank you very much.
You
for
got
that.
it.
Well, I'm a marine biologist, and Kevin is a neuroscientist, so that's why we do this together a lot. But as a marine biologist, I've been paying attention throughout my career and throughout my life to the way people respond to water. So if you're having a bad day, you're in a cubicle, you're over the hill, you're wherever you are, and you see the water, it's like the big blue reset button. We all know that. It's obvious, and that's how we live. But I was curious about the science behind that, the why. And I looked for this book in the library, and I didn't find it. And so I tried to get some colleagues to write it, and nobody would. And so by default, I ended up taking it on, and it took 5 years.
Had you written a book before?
I'd written book chapters. I'd written a lot of scientific papers.
Right.
I even wrote a kid's book, but this was my first shot at a full-blown nonfiction, New York Times bestseller contender. And just started gathering together the best neuroscientists and the best watermen and women, if you will. So people with the last name Cousteau, people like Jeff Clark, and bringing people together, getting neuroscientists to talk to surfers, getting cognitive scientists to talk to divers, getting people who use the ocean as a way to do therapy, to get together.
Like Operation Surf.
Like Operation Surf.
Right.
So Van Carrazza spoke at one of our Blue Mind summits. I paired him up with a couple of neuroscientists, and they talk about what they do with veterans and how it works on the inside. Right? We know how it works on the outside. You get a bunch of people together, you get a lot of pro surfers to help, you make a good time of it, you get out on the waves, and it's a blast, and it changes people's lives. But we wanted to know what was going on.
But it's not just for Operation Surf. It's for Ride a Wave program.
Exactly.
It's for there's a lot of programs that cystic fibrosis program that who's involved in that.
Well, I personally was thinking about how you could prescribe surfing.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully, that's the vision here, that enlightened doctors and medical practitioners in the not so distant future will write that down, and maybe it's a supplemental prescription to the mainstream prescription. But nevertheless, if your doctor says, hey, you need to surf a little more, you need to walk on the beach, you need to swim, you need to paddle.
We didn't know each other before the book. I had picked up the
your
book.
background is, can you give us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm a neuroscientist at Stanford. I, again, also was
And you
trained
surf?
at Princeton, and I surf. I actually have been competitively swimming since I was 4. And in addition to going to Princeton, I was actually one of the original members of the Ivy League Surfing Association.
Check you out.
Which you are not,
exist.
TC.
Yeah.
No, but I started swimming.
Swimmers do not belong in that league.
Hey, check it out. I swam in AAU for 13 years.
I got my money's on him for the 100-meter fly.
So Kevin's modest. He was the co-captain of the Princeton swim team and still holds records there at that great institution.
Not at Princeton.
Yeah.
At different places.
Right.
But
Okay.
Wow.
But
Wow.
Those records.
Princeton, luckily, they've gotten very, very fast in the last 10 years. So,
Yeah.
I originally was in the top 10 back then, but not anymore.
Oh, cool.
But that's a tangent. What I loved about the book, so the reason why we started talking was I'm a waterman and I'm a neuroscientist, and what appealed to me about the book was that it's really hard to write science in a very clear way, and especially when you're not in that field. And neuroscientists have a really hard time getting out of their heads and getting the jargon, getting beyond the jargon. And Jay just tackles all of that, and he really translates the neuroscience research in a very accurate way that I don't think many neuroscientists could do. So when you read this book, you'll understand it.
So
and that's the best
basically,
part about it.
TC and I can pick up the book, read it, and understand it.
Exactly.
Not get to chapter page 1 and go, no.
It's not a thesis paper.
No.
If
no,
you get
it's
through
not.
chapter 2, it's smooth sailing. Chapter
Okay.
2 is the clunkiest chapter, and sometimes people bog down there. But once you get through chapter 2, you're good.
So I loved it, and I'm the director of public communication at our my nonprofit Institute for Applied Neuroscience. So knowing how hard that is to translate science, I just wanted to get to know Jay more, and then we recently had a panel at Bioneers together, and just it's been a fun ride. So when he invited me here tonight, couldn't turn it down because I figured if he invited me to talk to you guys, it was going to be a fun ride. And
there's nothing easier than sitting here.
Couple chumps, right?
Yeah. There's nothing easier than sitting here and talking about. So we're going to come back. We're going to talk about some Blue Minds a little bit more. Before we go to commercial, though, this portion of the show is brought to you by Freeline Design Surf Shop, the family-owned surf shop on 41st Avenue, next to the Santa Cruz Boardroom, which is TC Shop on 41st Avenue in Santa Cruz. Freeline has been over there for 40 years. I want to thank Peter and Tara Mel, who turned me on to tonight's guest. Very sweet. And they're in Portugal on the beach, and they go, "Hey, you got to talk to these guys. These definitely got to talk to. You got to talk to Wallace J Nichols. You got to get him on the show." So thankfully tonight he's in the studio. This is Neil and TC. We'll be right back after this extremely short break. Don't go away. Go Giants. Thinking of a vacation in Santa Cruz? Then contact Beach Nest Vacation Rentals at 831-722-0888 to make your reservation. The very best local vacation management company with their staff will take care of the tiniest of details to better your memorable Monterey Bay holiday. They are pet friendly with a choice of homes on or close to the beach in Santa Cruz and the Central Coast. For further information, go to beachnest.com or follow them on Facebook. Toyota Santa Cruz is under construction, building a state-of-the-art facility at their current location on 41st Avenue and Highway 1. Julie Frigoli, the general manager, would like to invite you all to take advantage of their need for room while all the heavy equipment is on their facility. She would like to inform you that there is no time like now to get unbelievable savings on a new Toyota or one of their certified pre-owned vehicles, and that their highly rated parts and service is still open 7 days a week. So now is the time to take advantage of their mess. Head down to Toyota Santa Cruz or check them out online at santacruztoyota.com.
Hi, this is Steve Pereira, the beach guy at Bailey Properties in Santa Cruz, California. If you're looking for a beach home or a coastal property, give us a call at 831-818-7064, or you can call my wife Diane at 831-818-5939, or drop in on our website at lifesabeach.com and check out all the inventory in all price ranges. We've been selling beach properties since 1982. We're here to help you. Give us a call today.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
And we are back with the Off the Lip Radio Show, broadcasting from Santa Cruz, California. We're on Facebook. We're on we're tweeting, Instagramming. What the hell else are we doing? Oh, yeah, we're on YouTube. You want to catch a show, it's on YouTube. Right now, we are streaming live on the surfchannel.com.
Hello, Shannon.
Hello, Shannon. And she sent me the results of the Women of Mavericks surf show that we had off the radio show. It was the most watched show ever on the Surf Channel, like 200,000 people, something crazy number.
Fantastic.
Pretty cool.
Well, thank you for the support.
And thanks for the props tonight, TC. We've got the pumpkin here. We wish everyone a happy Halloween.
You got it, yeah.
Well, we're not dressed. These guys in costume?
I don't know. I think these guys, they're smart. We don't know.
We're here tonight with Dr. Wallace J Nichols, who's the author of Blue Mind, which is currently sitting on the New York bestseller list. And we're also here with Dr. Kevin Weiner, who is a Stanford and Princeton neuroscientist. This is a little bit of TC and our league, but we're doing our best.
Quick question about the bestseller list.
Yeah.
How does that work?
No idea. Well, it came in on the science bestseller list, which is sort of a sub list, and then it made its way to the big list, the big nonfiction list. And those lists are based on sales in bookstores. So if you go and you buy 1,000 books, that doesn't show up. Right. It doesn't contribute. So you can't really game it unless you just tell your friends to go buy books.
So TC, I want to talk about the PTSD of Operation Surf. But before that, I want to talk about the stoke of surfing. Because we all going out getting stoked. How are you guys measuring that? Or are you trying to measure that? How and why do we get excited to go surfing? I mean, for myself, I can walk across the beach. It's no big deal for me to be on the beach. I don't care. But as soon as I stick my toe in the water, you feel this whole electricity going through your body, and that stoke, just to put your toenail in there.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not like that for me, not for somebody else. So why is it like that for me?
Yeah. So when we start talking about blue mind, you have to understand that there's the biology of it, there's the neuroscience, there's the genetics, there's the chemistry, but then there's also the cultural context and your personal lifetime experiences. So those three things are working together to create your stoke. And your stoke's going to be different than mine, different from anybody. So that is a personal experience that...
So it's immeasurable.
Science can't explain your stoke, but what we can do is back off and start looking at the general human response to what's referred to as blue space. So when you step up to the water, what's different about that than, say, right here in this studio where you're trying to understand my voice, you're trying to think about what you're going to say, you're balancing in your chair, you're wearing some clothes, there's a lot going on here. There's lights and everything. When you step up to the ocean, a lot of, the auditory stimulation and the visual stimulation are simplified, right? So now you get a little break in your brain, little brain vacation, which creates a space for your memories, your anticipation, everything you expect from the day to kind of come rushing in that you didn't really have when you were back in the office.
Right.
All right. So there's that moment. That's even before you touch the water, and then there's that feeling after you get out of the water when you're on the beach and you've just maybe had a bit of a stressful couple of rides. Maybe it was a little bit of a stretch. It was a big day, and now you're safely back on the beach, and those endorphins are in you, and some people describe that feeling as really what they're after. Back on the beach, they got out of the cold water, they made it out alive and safe, and now they're back on the beach, and that's the big payoff right there.
Yeah, just to expand on that, I would say also that our brains really love organized complexity. So the whole surfing process is complex, but it's also predictable, and our brain really loves patterns. So we can predict the patterns, and actually predicting what the wave is going to do is a whole brain workout, and that actually makes us a better surfer too, right? If you can predict what the wave is doing.
How is our brain working when we're about to catch that wave? When we're sitting there in the lineup, how is our brain? Is it operating any different than it would be if we're sitting in traffic?
I mean, I think that your brain would be going haywire when you're about to paddle into a wave, because it's all of your senses are working together, right? It's a multi-sensory integration. They're also, obviously, when you're in the car, all of your senses are also working together, but the act of movement and being in nature and all of the organized complexity that's going on is completely different than being in the car.
Right.
And also the endorphins that Jay's talking about, when you get that dopamine rush when you're riding a wave, I mean, that's, they call it runner's high too, right? It's just any aspect of being physical, right? Will release some of those neurochemicals that make you feel good.
Okay.
But really, the organized complexity, as Jay was talking about too, also gives your brain a break from every day. And I think, Jerry Lopez isn't a scientist, but he had it right when he said the foundation of what surfing is just being in the moment, right? It makes you, like, time slows down, and that no matter what's going on.
Back zone, you're paddling into waves that kind of scare the hell out of you, even though you're confident. That's completely different than the other scenario where it's, really does replenish you and it charges your batteries and it gives more than it takes. It's, it's not draining you. So red mind can happen in the water, red mind can happen in the workplace, red mind can happen in traffic, right? So it is definitely an intense situation.
Right.
Most people will never experience that in their lives. They may experience it vicariously by going and watching, or watching on YouTube, seeing a great film. But most people are accessing the water, with their toe.
Right.
Maybe they're getting on a board. Maybe they're enjoying some small, medium-sized waves.
Okay.
So that's what we're talking about here.
Would we be saying, like, anger is red mind?
Yeah.
And happiness is blue mind? Mm-hmm. And so, like, the Mavericks, the thrill and scared big wave surfer would be the red mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as you get better, what's red mind to you is not red mind to me.
Controlling it. Sure, you put in somebody who's never surfed in big waves and you throw them out there, It's probably bright red mind.
Yeah, scared to death.
Before we forget, TC, we went right past trivia tonight. We can't blow off Felix, because he sat there last week and was my co-host.
Thank you, Felix.
He was a great co-host.
He
Well,
was.
thank you, Felix, for showing up last week.
I was drinking margaritas in Mexico.
Oh, I didn't tell anybody where you were.
Thank you.
And this portion of the show is brought to you by, the trivia portion of the show is brought to you by Sand Dollar Ding Repair. Felix, if your board's screwed up, messed up. If Chris, you ran over my board, I can take it to you can't take your stand-up paddleboard there to Felix anymore. He's
Bottom
not
line
fixing
is he does the best ding repair.
Yeah. He's done doing SUPs. He's done me talking about it too. 722-4060. Trivia question this week for what's the
Let's do a sweatshirt.
sweatshirt from the boardroom?
Santa Cruz boardroom, yeah.
And if the phone number, by the way, to call in. Oh, wait a minute. Before we go,
we got calls?
we got one call. I got to get this call. We got Dayla from San Francisco calling in. Dayla, what's
guys.
happening?
Hey, what's happening, TC and Neil?
What's
Hello.
going on, my dear?
Hey, well, I just wanted to say what a great show you're having tonight.
Are you getting it all? Do you understand everything? Because you
I
will be
do. I
you
think
will
you-
be
I think-
tested.
I think these guys have something. I think it's great. I meditate before I go out in the water, or I'll meditate when I come in.
No,
so.
you don't. You go right out and catch waves. You don't sit on the beach and meditate. Why no? Don't lie to me.
How long do you meditate?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Oh, well, if it's good, for about 5 minutes. If it's not so good, maybe 10.
How'd it go? But thanks for calling. What you wanted to talk about?
Well, I wanted to just mention how great it was that you guys are putting up some money this season for Queen of the Mavericks.
We're stoked about it.
Yeah.
Very
I
excited
know,
about it.
and I'm going to be watching every swell. I'm going to be out there filming for my movie, It Ain't Pretty, and I just wanted to really say how it's so great to have you guys being some of the big supporters out there for the ladies.
Thanks, Dale. We appreciate it. We really do appreciate it. And do me a favor. Why don't you let Bianca know, wish a happy birthday from all of us at the Off the Radio Show, please, okay?
I sure will. I think she's partying down tonight.
I bet she is. And we might have to confer with you a little bit and get your input on this.
Yeah, we have to confer with her.
Yeah. Sure.
She's a judge.
Yeah, we need some help.
Who's the leader in the clubhouse so far, do you think?
Well, I don't know. It wouldn't be for me to say. Maybe one of the other judges, like Sean Dollar or Nikki Brooks,
All right,
they might have something
we'll ask
to
him,
say
honey.
about that.
Okay, we'll ask you in private.
Thanks for calling, sweetheart.
All right, sweet. Thank
See
you, guys.
you, bye. 831-479-1080 is the phone number. Again, 831-479-1080 is the phone number. If you want to call and talk to Dr. J Nichols or Dr. Kevin Weiner tonight, the trivia question is the year that last week's guest first started business in Santa Cruz. That's Rainbow Fins. Was it 1968? Was it 1969? Or was it 1970?
Wow.
One of those three dates, you win yourself a free sweatshirt if you get the correct answer. 831-479-1080 is the phone number.
We
got
get
one
no,
in three
you
chance.
guys can't call.
Ring in the phone. Where are we, TC?
I thought you were going to go to a break.
No, I'm not going to break it.
Okay.
No, I'm not breaking.
Well,
I want to ask you a question. You have a question, though.
Okay.
I read and I want to answer, I'm going to ask them their own question. Maybe it's not their own question. You wrote about, it says right here what I wrote down, what happens when our most complex organ meets the planet's largest feature, water? Mm-hmm. And you touched on it a bit, what happens is it different for people who live on the coast? Someone who's living maybe in Kansas City? Is this why we want to live here? Is this why we want oceanfront property?
It's
a condition.
It's a continuum. So when I've lectured at University of Kansas, and had a engineering student come up afterwards and said, "I totally get it." I said, "Really? We're in Kansas?" He said, "Yeah. I last weekend I told my girlfriend I loved her, and I had to do it by water. So I went to the river, and I had to tell her that by the water. So it's not big water. It's smaller water. It's not tropical blue water. It might be brownish green water, but it's water nevertheless. And water's romantic. Water connects us. Water calms us. It does all these things, whether it's in Kansas or here in Santa Cruz or out in Indonesia, or wherever you are. So that's a human thing, and it's even beyond a human thing. It's a mammalian thing. So if we don't have water
is life.
We're done.
Right.
And you can't get through more than a couple of days without water.
Now you jumped off a pier with a waterproof cap covered in electrodes, correct?
Yeah, it was a prototype.
What were you trying to measure?
Well, that unit is
And
called...
has that taken place in the surf lineup with has electrodes on under a swimming cap or whatever? Are you trying to measure the brain?
Coming. That's coming. That hasn't been done yet. EEG, the EEG unit, it can range in complexity from, say, 68 or more sensors to just single sensor EEG, which is more kind of toy-like. And they are mobile. As they get smaller, they become more mobile. And that's what people use, neuroscientists use in the lab to study the electricity in your brain.
Okay.
Now, Kevin will tell you in his research, they use something a little bit bigger, a little more expensive and complex.
We talked about earlier outside, didn't we, off the air?
Yeah, so we use fMRI, functional magnetic.
I've had MRI. What's F? This is fMRI.
Yeah, so MRI just does the anatomical part. Functional, it will actually get you that functional brain activity. So it's it's a modification of the original MRI. And just to also piggyback off what Jay was saying and your question that you had to him, in the book, Jay's making connections from what's known in present research. I think both he and I moving forward actually would love to do what you're suggesting, which is actually quantifying and measuring what's actually going on in the brain when you're in the water. That hasn't been done.
Right.
But the way that the technology is advancing and improving, it's going to be possible within, at least I would say 2 to 5 years.
Is this something like with Stanford, where you're working right now? Is this something Stanford is interested in doing or finding out?
I don't know if the university is interested, but I am interested.
Okay.
So we were talking earlier about how this fMRI is a $3 million machine that is not mobile.
Right.
But if you could take this technology and be mobile with it, you could actually have it at Mavericks and be like, hey, Pete Mel, we're going to measure you before you go out, and we're going to measure you when you come in.
Yeah, I think it's more feasible to do the EEG cap than with fMRI, and especially because just EEG is much more flexible. It will always be cheaper, and you'll have more control over the sensors in the water. So fMRI, I think, is still it's pretty unfeasible. But EEG, especially to get think about if you could measure someone in the barrel in Chopu, like that, it can be done. And even if it's just in a toy way, just to see one surfer, just to see what's going on.
I imagine there'd be big spikes of just energy in the brain.
Yeah. But you would actually see the topology of the patterns moving over time. So what does Shane Dorian look like in the barrel when he's actually in a huge wave and riding it successfully versus wiping out completely?
Right.
And you can look.
For you two, how far along is that technology? Like, when do you think we'll have quantitative information on those type of brain waves and activities?
Well, just to give you an idea, if we move away from water and surfing and we talk about other big fields like music, so there's at Stanford there's a going on 9-year conference about the neuroscience of music, and it's an awesome day. You sit in a room with neuroscientists and professional music theorists and musicians and composers, and they talk all day about, it's basically this conversation, but replace water and surfing with music. And it's super interesting. We can all relate on some levels, and they're way ahead. But they're doing this. They're asking the same set of questions about musicians, about rock bands, about that feeling of groove. When you're in the groove,
right?
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
If you're watching a band and they're in the groove, you know it, you feel it, and you're lucky to be there.
Is that why you go to concerts?
That's why you go to concerts.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
so that feeling of groove, of rhythm, of synchrony, of entrainment, they call it, that all of that is completely applicable to our time in water.
Okay. You're listening to the Off Lip Radio Show on KSCO. We're streaming live on the Surf Channel. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We are tweeting, and God knows what else we're doing. This is Neil and TC here with Chris, my engineer tonight, who never fails us. He always shows up. We'll be right back after this very short break.
Saba Ana is a small local business here in Santa Cruz, California. We make clothing and accessories specializing in swimwear for extreme sports.
that finally, after 25 years of everybody looking at that hole in the ground on Pacific Avenue, I can say to you now, something is actually going to happen there. So stay tuned to the Our Local Sports Show for further development. People ask me all the time, have I missed the boat? Have I lost that opportunity to buy a house? And I tell them right now, with rents rising the way that they have been, they're averaging 10% a year increases in rents, but yet interest rates are so low, it's still a great time to buy and lock in your housing costs in the next 30 years. So come talk to me at Real Estate 831 and let's see if we can put a plan in place for you. You can follow us on Facebook. You can call the office 475-5695, or you can check out our website, re831.com.
It's a new life for me, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good.
Hi, this is Sherry from The Healthy Way, here with Neil from the Off the Lip radio show and the Our Local Sports Show, who successfully completed a weight loss program with us.
Yes, thank you, Sherry. I'm so stoked how I feel. How you and your staff helped me achieving my goal of losing 25 pounds. It truly was easy. And importantly, 3 months later, I'm still at my desired weight. I am feeling better, surfing better, and mention this KSCO ad for your free consultation with The Healthy Way.
Let us show you how you, too, can use our simple and easy program. Just give us a call at 831-462-5900 or take a look for yourself at thehealthyway.us or follow us on Facebook.
And we are back with the Off the Lip radio show. Here broadcasting on KSCO, Santa Cruz's favorite radio station. We're here tonight with Dr. J Nichols, author of Blue Mind, a book about brain on water. We're also here tonight with Stanford and Princeton neuroscientist and surfer, in fact, they both surf, Dr. Kevin Weiner. Where were we, TC? You got some good. You got these guys riled up during the break.
Well,
how's the health industry?
Well, I'm intrigued
these guys
by
are
it.
going to tell people to hit the ocean.
I'm intrigued by that aspect of it as well. And we talked a little bit, and I said this during the break. I go, did people say you were crazy? Mm-hmm. And you immediately said yes. And you, elaborate on that, like when you first started this.
Well, my background is as a marine biologist, so when you start talking about blue mind and the brain
and the red mind
right. And people say, wait, what are you doing? You're this is different, and they called it career suicide. And
Did you know Kevin at that point?
I was familiar with his work, but we hadn't met.
Right.
And so
did he kind of like reassure you? No, you're not nuts.
Well,
let me come over here, son. I want to check your brain.
He wrote a review. He wrote a review of the book, and when I read it, I was relieved and I enjoyed what he had to say, which was, as a non-neuroscientist, I did an okay job interpreting.
And let me ask you, so Kevin, what did you think of the book?
I absolutely loved it. That's why my review was so glowing.
And why you're here tonight.
Yeah,
we didn't
exactly.
like you when we're sitting here.
Yeah, exactly.
Just not giving you a free T-shirt for showing up.
And I think one of the telltale signs that we love water so much and that it has such a positive effect on our mindsets is, I was a distance swimmer. So all through, from the time I was 12 years old until after I finished college. And you stare at a black line for hours, right? You're not even in the ocean.
I've got to bring something up, but go ahead. Go ahead.
But I'm just saying, if you're willing to put yourself through that repetitive motion, you're doing it for a reason, and is the positive benefit that you're getting back, even though most people would think that that's torturous and crazy, right?
Yes. I think it's torturous and crazy.
Yeah.
I want to bring something up. This is to do with my other show that I had, which is on KSCO, the sports show I have on Wednesday night called Our Local Sports. And there's a woman that came on the show who was an unbelievable guest. Her name was Kim Rutherford, 55 years old, who swam from, you've been across the Monterey Bay in a boat, TC, which is harrowing in itself. She swam from Monterey to Santa Cruz, 28 miles in 22 hours. Why? You look at that distance and you go, you wouldn't, for as a surfer, we get afraid when our board gets away from us, right? We don't want to swim too far.
Hey, the kicker about that story was she did it at night.
She started at night, right?
Yeah.
And I go, why? She goes, no, I see the other side and I can get to it. What's different about her mind? Because there's been 3 women that have swam across the Monterey Bay.
Oh.
Yummy men. Zero.
Wow.
So what makes them or her want to do that? Is it?
I mean, I don't think we have a clear answer.
But it would be would you like to take a look at her mind?
Yeah,
After she'd gotten on the beach, and she was hysterical. Not, she was dizzy, and she was hallucinating when she got on the beach. I mean, you'd just want to hook her up and check her out.
Yeah, but
right?
I think that would also be something similar as an ultra marathoner,
right?
Versus someone who runs a 100-yard dash, right? Something's going to be different about them too, both mentally. Because I mean, to get through the training, you have to think about the guys who paddle. We were talking about the Molokai Channel, right? You're just in a different mindset. A big wave surfer versus someone who just wants to longboard, right?
Right.
It's a different mindset, and of course, all of those are quantifiable in the right way.
I would have red mind. If you put me out there in the dark, that would be red.
At first. But if you were
training for it, right? She's maybe blue mind,
and this was what you were raised doing, and it was part of your ancient culture, and this was a rite of passage, and you were driven to do it. When you're on the water like that for extended periods of time, you get into a kind of a trance state, and I say that not in a sort of a spiritual hippie kind of way. I say it in a scientific kind of way, and the trance state has been studied again by neuroscientists looking at music. So people beating drums for 24 hours straight together get into a trance state, and stuff happens that doesn't happen when you beat a drum for 2 minutes. Right? So you get into a different state of mind.
Right.
Now that can happen on the water as well. It can happen swimming laps back and forth for days on end.
Right.
Can do many different things can put you there. But we do know that stepping out to the water gets you into that blue mind state relatively quickly. And by blue mind state, I mean a mildly meditative feeling like you're one with the universe, feeling like you're king or queen of the world, feeling good, feeling clear. And then following that, you come back to the office, make a phone call, send an email. That conversation, that email is the best one of the day. You want to be on the receiving end of that message.
Right.
Because you're clear, you're calm, you're chill, you're stoked, and what you say and what you do is righteous.
Can you bottle that?
Well, you don't have, here it is.
Right.
What we can do is protect it.
How's the health industry see this as the ocean having such powers which you can't bottle, as it were, as TC was saying?
So if you're a pharmaceutical company, you're maybe antagonistic. If you're a insurance company, you're maybe protagonistic. Maybe you like it because it keeps people healthier, and they would encourage you not getting sick so they don't have to spend money to get you well.
That's rehab. That's therapy.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
what they're pushing for.
Yep.
Water makes our brain smile. You wrote that, correct? Did you write that?
I wrote that.
Okay. Water makes our brain smile.
Yeah. Catchy, right?
It is very catchy.
Yeah.
That's the name of his next book. If you might buy it. It costs you $10 to buy that.
Watermakesyourbrainsmile.com.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Which is true. It's a true statement. We can all say that. Right?
But for me, it's also, I spend my days, I'm a functional neuroanatomist. So I actually spend my days looking at the crinkles of the brain. And so to me, some of those look like smiles. Some of those the brain loves patterns. You can see patterns, and all these sort of things. So it just made sense to me that after, knowing how much I'm in the water and how much it affects my mindset, when I come out, I imagine that somewhere in there is actually a smile that's in there. So to me, it was a nice image. And what I meant was that the same neurochemicals that are involved in happiness are also involved in all those, multiple cortical systems that are working together when you're in the water, moving your body. And when you come out, you're still getting that, the effect of those neurochemicals.
And the guys that are angry out there at Pleasure Point on First Peak, the guys that are getting angry and pissed off.
Red mind.
Yeah, and they're going to surf worse because of that.
Okay, so remember that, guys. You're going to surf worse than that. So if you can smile when you surf, you're going to surf better.
Because their brain, and Robert Sapolsky has a great book called Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. When you get really aggressive in the lineup, you're bathing your brain in cortisol. That does not make you a good athlete. You're going to botch your turns. You're not going to do well on the next takeoff.
For
you
any
know.
sport, that's for any sport.
I would say, and, yeah.
Right, anything, right?
For sure, you leave. You're sad after those surf sessions. You know,
Yeah.
you're not angry. You're just sad, and that's the I think what you get out of it. I have a question. Do you guys feel like combined powers is like a superhuman? Because I mean, it's because I don't know. Is it kind of fate that you two met and that your complement? To me, looking at you guys, you get along great. Your science is so complementary, and you seem to be on the same page. And have you talked about like down the road projects or what could come out of this?
Oh, that's kind of when the microphone's off or we're not, working. That's just what we talk about. Like it's like a side hobby, just to talk and dream and scheme and come up with ideas and say, well, wouldn't it be cool if there was a grad student who was trying to answer this question or this question, and wouldn't it be cool if we had the technology to, get it out on the wall? And they even know what I'm up to, and it still works.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, Dad, are you trying?
It's foolproof.
Are you trying that
It's
blue
child-
mind?
it's
Are you trying
child-proof.
that blue mind thing?
Yeah, I
And
am.
it's like, I am. And they go,
Yeah.
Yep, and it works.
Yeah, I am.
The Blue Mind Jedi trick.
You're listening to the Off Rip Radio Show with Neil TC. We'll be right back after this extremely short break. Star Benny is a small family Italian and Argentinian restaurant with something for all. Empanadas, grilled steaks, delicious pastas, homemade desserts, patio pet friendly, specials for kids, romantic seating, big screen TV, beers on tap, and just mention the Off the Lip Radio Show and make your own deal with the owners, Sergio and Giulietta. And for those of you who surf, they even have a starving surfer menu, like a huge helping of spaghetti and meatballs after your session for just $10.95. Remember, they are only open for dinners because during the day, they serve. Star Bene, 2-1245 East Cliff Drive in Santa Cruz. Call them at 831-479-4307 or go to star-bene.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Warnerhalder from North Bay Ford. Proud to sponsor the Off the Lip Radio Show. We're here to support the local surf community with a full inventory of trucks, hybrids, and plug-in hybrids. Come see why the F-150 has been the best-selling vehicle for 39 years. We have the perfect surf vehicle in stock, the new 2015 Ford Transit van. We have a model that'll fit your needs. Come to the no-hassle, easy place to buy a car. No stress, no drama. We make it easy for everybody. We're locally owned, locally operated. North Bay Ford at 1999 SoCal Avenue or www.northbayford.com.
Chill Out Cafe on 41st Avenue, Santa Cruz is not just a block from some of the world's best surf, but it is also where you can go relax and order the tastiest grub before and after your sesh. Plump burritos, fresh salads, sky-high sandwiches, and a superb selection of hot and cold drinks. They have something for you. Go to chilloutcafesantacruz.com to view their menu and to place your order to go, call 831-477-0543. Chill Out Cafe, where they roll the fatties.
Here we are back with the Off the Lip Radio Show on KSCO, streaming live on the Surf Channel. Here tonight with Dr. Wallace J Nichols, author of Blue Mind, and Dr. Kevin Weiner, a neuroscientist. Fascinating stuff. I want to talk to you about Bobby Lane, a young man who I helped 4 or 5 years ago with Operation Surf. Came here, had been wounded, amputee, and suffered severely from PTSD. I mean, he couldn't sleep at night. Couldn't sleep because all he could think about was the war and what had happened, the tragedy. And then after he surfed, I remember him emailing me, all he could think about was surfing. His sleeping came back, and all he could think about was surfing. It immediately, it wasn't a slow process. It was an immediate change for that young man. Can you talk to us about that real quickly?
Well, Bobby came here to participate, and his plan was to learn to surf and then go home and check out.
Right.
Meaning,
right. I remember. That's right.
Kill himself.
Yeah.
And caught his third wave, standing up on that wave, like you described it. He saw his future, and he said, "I'm staying.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this.
Right.
I want to do this again and again and again, and I want to. And not just for me, I want to help other men and women do this.
Right.
And so that transformed not just his life, but many other lives through his experience with Operation Surf.
Yeah, that's a very cool story.
It's there are stories like that are coming out of the woodwork, and people are emailing and calling and sharing and sending testimonies and their own and testimonies of their loved ones, and clearly this works. So our goal, and Kevin and I talk about kind of, whenever we get to talk, is how do we get from here to there? There being that this is accepted, that there's rigorous science backing up what works, and finding out what works and what doesn't, and putting that science to work, to applying it to help people in the best possible way.
And you can that tells you that it works. So a man like him is telling you that it works.
Yeah, intuitively we know that it works, and I think all surfers know that it works, and especially the guys at Operation Surf know that it works, and we want to help them actually quantify that, and hopefully we can do that through I helped co-found a nonprofit. Check us out at scienceforgood.org and
scienceforgood.org.
Correct. Yeah,
okay.
And the CEO is Melina.
And that's your nonprofit.
Yep.
Okay.
It's one that I helped co-found, and so we met the Operation Surf guys last week at the first Blue Mind Award that they received from Jay, and I got to talk to Bobby, and we're stoked at the prospect to be able to help them quantify those effects.
So give us that website again.
Scienceforgood.org.
And your book can be found at?
Anywhere. Bookshop Santa Cruz, online. Just Google
Amazon?
Just Google Blue Mind, and it'll pop up. Support your local bookseller.
Like Bookshop Santa Cruz?
Bookshop Santa Cruz Public Library.
Right. And is there a website for all this information that we can be looking at?
Yeah, my website is Wallace, the letter J, wallacejnichols.org, and links to all kinds of stuff all over the place.
TC,
any future plans for another book? Are you working on something else?
Oh, there's a sequel. Yeah, there's so much to pack into here that we had to pull some of it out, and there's some emerging research, and the placeholder name is Go Deeper.
That's my boat name.
You're on, and there's more of you tomorrow on TV, right? Correct?
Yeah, I'm heading down to San Diego to do some stuff with PBS and NPR, and
can we invite you back here?
You bet.
We invite you both back here on the Off the Lip Radio Show?
I'd love to have you guys back. To me, you guys know, I've been I'm so interested in what you guys do, so I would look forward to having you guys back. And
so we want to thank you guys for coming in the show. And right now, TC, just want to let you know, where are we going? Point Chop House?
Star Bene, right?
No, we're going to Point Chop House.
Oh, we are?
Yeah. If you're looking for comfort cocktails in a great neighborhood spot, you're not going to Star Bene.
No,
you're going to get the Point Chop House in Patrol
That's right,
Avenue.
we go every
90
Tuesday.
drink and dinner specials. It's where TC and I head after every show.
Of course. Sorry. You're wearing
blew that.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Want to thank the two good doctors for coming in the show tonight. That would be Dr. J Nichols and Dr. Kevin Weiner, both for coming in tonight. But Dr. Kevin